Hello, Calvary. You all know Enoch. He's been staying with us since January 2019. So your father gets out of prison the end of June 2018, and within about 1 week I get this email. Hello, my name is Enoch. I want to know how I can come to Calvary Christian School. So there's a whole lot of technicality involved in bringing a student from any place. And I-20 says, we accept this student to come to our school. He will be living at this house with these people, and that happened to be us because at the time we had no idea if this was even going to work. So we send the I-20.
Yeah, but I didn't make the visa interview.
Yeah, he did the visa interview, and as he told me sadly a few weeks later, I am sorry to tell you that I failed. He was very disappointed, and he said, but can you send me another I-20? We will try again. So we did. But by now, the government in China is aware that he's trying to get an I-20 to come to America. And our second I-20 never shows up at the house. So we're emailing at least once a week. At the end of his email, he always says, God is in control of tomorrow. And he later told me that his dad told him to say that.
Yes, my dad did.
But that was a good thing to say. So he says, it never came. I said, well, we sent it. And each time we send these things, it costs like $60, $70. So this is, very discouraging when it does. So his father somehow went to the post office and they found the envelope. The envelope had been opened, I think.
Yeah, it said, like, when it just arrived in China and somebody opened it, and then it didn't move anymore. It just stays there forever.
Yeah, and so he never got it. By now school has started. We were hoping he'd be at school and go on high school retreat. But now school has started. It's almost Thanksgiving. He says, can you try one more time? Send one more I-20. So we do a really good one this time. And we send it not to his address because his father was suspicious that that would not get through. But somehow he got it eventually. And then over Christmas break, he said, pray for me, I have my second visa interview.
Like when you didn't make the first one, they will have records. What they suggest is, like, if you fail at the first time, then don't do the second time in at least 2 years. Because they will have the records and they will think, why didn't he make that one? We will go check that out and blah blah blah. And then they will find out, he doesn't like qualify or something. And then they won't give you the second one. So
many people behind the scenes, we've helped make sure that this one would go better. The lady, instead of being more scrutinizing, was very friendly and came back
right away.
Right away. Okay, you got it. So he emails me, I got my visa. Now I just need to get my passport. Now this was like New Year's Eve because we were with friends for New Year's Eve. So now he has to get a passport and airplane ticket and all of this while there's a whole lot of scrutiny on his father and his household. We're not going to go into too many details about that. I asked him once, what was your last day at school like? Was it hard knowing it was your last day at school?
I didn't know that was going to be my last day at school.
His parents thought that might be easier for him to pull off emotionally if he didn't know it was his last day. So he came home with all his books, just like normal, got off the bus, and your mom already had your suitcase packed?
Yep.
And so you get to Hong Kong. he's waiting in Hong Kong for 3 or 4 days because he's waiting for his passport to arrive. And it arrives, we'll just say where he was staying in Hong Kong. And the next thing you know, I'm at the Gerald R. Ford Airport in Grand Rapids, Mrs. Kapanka and I, waiting at the end of Terminal B, and then finally there was Enoch. How do we know it was Enoch? I don't know. We just mysteriously knew it was Enoch.
I don't remember anything of that. I was just tired.
Yeah, he's exhausted, if you can imagine. Well, that night we stopped at Outback on Alpine Avenue. It was very difficult to sit and eat through that meal. Total strangers. And knowing this long journey was about to begin. So on the way home, it was snowing. It was beautiful. And I kept looking in the rearview mirror, and he said, "This is beautiful." And then, about Coopersville, he said, "When will we go to school?" And I said, "Well, we can go tomorrow, but I was thinking you might just want to rest. It's been a long process for you." Alone, he had traveled more than 10,000 miles. He had not seen a familiar face in over 6 days. By the time we arrived home, Enoch was asleep in the back seat. We gently woke him, walked him up to his room. About 3 hours later, I knocked on the door. No one answered. I opened it, and he was sound asleep. Still fully dressed, as he was through the night, with his backpack beside him. So he rested, and then he arrived at school mostly just to be introduced to the student body. And that day, the students presented him with this eagle. It says, "Courage, keep alert, stand firm in your faith, be courageous, be strong," 1 Corinthians 16:13. And I gave that to him in front of the chapel, and he bowed as he does and cried a little bit. And this has been up on his study desk for over a year. One time he was studying, and I said, "Do you remember when we gave you that in chapel?" What did you say?
No, I don't remember anything.
He didn't remember anything about that whole thing. It was just a blur. If you remember, that winter we had 11 snow days. 10 of those snow days happened after Enoch arrived. So he goes from having school from like 6:15 and arriving close to 10 o'clock every day. He arrives in Michigan, starts school, has like 1 or 2 normal days. Then it was homecoming week, which is anything but normal. And then we had about 10 snow days. I think he might have wondered, how am I going to learn anything? So how have you liked your experience at Calvary?
It feels very secure. That's for the first thing. And then you don't need to take people's words into a harsh way, because they are very nice since it's in Calvary. And that's a new thing for me to learn, because in China I always think, what do they want? What do they want from me? And how am I gonna respond to those things? And in Calvary, I can just put those things down, and then just be the real me, and to make friends with them. So that was the biggest thing for me.
Remember, he had taken all of his books home. So his parents did the right thing. A few days after he arrived here, they took his books back to the school. And how did that go?
So I had a very mean English teacher. She just didn't like me. And no matter what I do, she just did everything that could be harsh on me. Anyway,
Relax.
so on that day, like my parents went to the class to explain, and then like the teacher was mad. The English teacher said, "Well, since Enoch is gone and he didn't tell us anything, now there's no more places for him in this classroom." And then she asked several students to take my desks and my chairs out. And then my parents just thought, she's such a rude lady.
I heard that story when it first happened, and she did that in front of his friends, in front of his parents. Oh, well, if he's not here, we will take his desk out of the room, and there is no place for Enoch, and if he ever comes back, he cannot come to school here. You know, she wanted to be the one in charge, not Enoch. But then his parents bumped into his teacher from the year before, who was his favorite teacher, and what did she tell them?
She said, "Oh, really? Enoch went to America? That's a very good place to go. He's gonna have such a bright future. I'm so happy for him."
Two teachers, totally different perspective. You lived here in the house for with us, which is wonderful. It's just fantastic to live with the Kopankas. You can, right? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So he lives with us for 4 or 5 months, and he goes out for the golf team just to be with friends. He had never played golf, and I thought, hey, give it a shot. And he would come back from golf practice, and it was freezing. It was freezing cold, and he would just be numb. I'd say, "So how'd it go?" And he'd say, "I found 4 balls today, so that was a good day." He defined a good day at golf by how many balls he found while searching for his own ball. But finally he just said, please don't make me keep going to golf. So we didn't. And later that night, I hear some piano music. And I'm thinking it's Alexa, because we have Alexa playing music through the house. And I think, oh, that's pretty. And but then I hear some mistakes. And you don't usually hear mistakes on Alexa, so what? I come downstairs, Enoch sitting at her piano, playing, I think it was For Elise by Beethoven. It was beautiful. And it was, Enoch, you've walked by this piano for 5 months. What made you want to play that night after golf?
I want to make myself feel that I could do some things. I played the piano.
Well, he can. So that started a conversation. So obviously you played piano. How long did you take piano?
Like for 4 or 5 years. My mom made me practice like 2 hours a day, and she made me practice 6 hours or 7 hours a day in the summer break. So that was horrible.
So he was not a big fan. What did your teacher do when you made a mistake?
Well, when she is very angry with my some dumb mistakes, she will use the toothpick to stick my fingers. And
So you're playing piano and she has a toothpick and you make a mistake and she poke you?
Yes.
That's one way to become very good at piano.
Yeah.
But as he said, he hated it. I wonder why. And so when he moved into high school, he no longer had time for piano. And of course, it was about that same time that his father went to prison for being a house church pastor. So he didn't play piano at all for 2 or 3 years, and it didn't bother him at all that he didn't play. And so he walked by our piano all the time, and it didn't even tempt him. So that's why that night, after the hard day at golf, suddenly we heard this beautiful music, and he plays often. Now, sometimes he'll just practice for 1 or 2 hours by himself. And And you'll be happy to know this, that there are ways Enoch can talk with his parents. And sometimes he'll be talking up here at the piano and playing music for his mom. And that's been wonderful, and we've gotten to know them that way too. So what are your plans? What are your future plans?
My future plan is to be a business translator, get to know many people, because I think since I'm here like ahead of my parents, then I want to get ready. So when my parents want to come here, and then I can provide what they need. So I would be a business translator.
And where do you plan to study?
I'm going to attend Cornerstone University in Grand Rapids.
There might be an article coming out of the Grand Haven Tribune. He spent 4 hours being interviewed, and then all this corona stuff happened, and that has probably taken a back burner. But there was one thing he said in that interview, and maybe we could close with that thought. You told the reporter that your life has been changed twice by Calvary. What did you mean by that?
So like for the first time, the Calvary in the Bible is where God died for our sins. So I thought that's the first time like I got like fresh, exchanged. And for the second time, the Calvary is here in America. Like I also got like exchanged from China to US. And like the Calvary in the Bible is the beginning of a new life for those sinners like us. And for Calvary, it's a new start for Enoch as myself. So Calvary means a lot to me.
Well, thank you. I like it.